Hello, this is Calvin Idle. Welcome to the Lavender Table, a web-based talk show for and about the LGBT community. And now, let's keep the conversation going with your host, Gary Elgin.
Mark, thank you for being on the show today. I appreciate you bringing your film to Knoxville and University of Tennessee.
I'm very excited to be here, excited for the Knoxville premiere and to be on college campus with the student group.
How did the film Tennessee Queer come about? How did it come to be?
Well, I was, a lot of things contributed to it. I was sort of writing in reaction to the first go-around with the Don't Say Gay bill. I started writing in February, March of 2011. So there was the Don't Say Gay bill that was first coming around. There was an incident in Memphis. Memphis has two forms of government. And we have the Memphis City Council and government, and we have the Shelby County government, where Memphis is in Shelby County. So we have two different councils and mayors and that sort of thing. And I believe it was in 2009, our county commission was going to vote on giving some equality to the county workers, the gay, lesbian county workers. And we had one of our county commissioners decide to have a big press conference about 3 weeks before the vote, the first vote. It takes 3 readings to get something done. And so he had 6 ministers join him in front of the Shelby County building and had this press conference, and they all went off, saying how bad gays were and how bad it was for the government to do this and how dangerous it was. It was pretty appalling. And it also was sad that the mayor or no one else came out and said, okay, we're going to put an end to this. It's 2009, we're not doing this anymore. But they didn't. So this guy had an hour-long press conference. And then he wouldn't take any questions from average people. It was just only reporters. So that happened. That was in the back of my mind. We had an incident where the city council, Memphis City Council, I think 2 or 3 years later, voted was going to try to do this, and it failed twice. 2 different occasions within about 6 months. And the city council, one city councilwoman called gays sinners, and it was horrible. Oh, and then that event with the Shelby County, the vote in Shelby County got watered down to a resolution that didn't even say gay, lesbian. It just said everything by merit. So it got watered down. It was a victory. It was like the first victory ever in Shelby County for gays and lesbians, but it was very much a watered down victory. And then our city council failed. Our city council has since passed something, which was nice, but that was within the last 6 months. So, I had all these things when I was writing it. There was sadly there was a lot of stretch of suicides by gay and lesbian teenagers. The University of Rutgers, their suicide. So a lot of these things were fresh in my mind in 2011 when I started writing Tennessee Queer.
What do you think about the politicians that stay silent when these ridiculous legislative bills come up?
It is getting harder and harder to tolerate that. I would love to see the governor of Tennessee, when these crazy bills are introduced and get voted on, say no. Would probably firmly and publicly come out and say, I urge the senators not to vote on this, or to vote no. I mean, every now and then Governor Haslam might say something, but it's all kind of quiet. I mean, he needs to take a firm stand. And our mayor, and different mayors need to take a firm stand. The mayor of Memphis has not been as supportive. He's a good guy, but he's not been a strong advocate for equality for gays. I'd like to see mayors be strong.
I don't know whether or not you have heard about Madeline Rojero's outspoken stand, but she is the first sitting Knoxville mayor to not only speak out in support of the LGBT community, but she rode in our parade.
See, that's great. I would love our mayor. He might leave town during the Memphis parade. I don't know. And he's a good guy. I voted for him. He's not a bad guy. That's what makes it really sort of infuriating. Is he's a good, decent guy who wants, I think, what's best for Memphis, but he is so timid when it comes to the gay issue.
I think a lot of people think Governor Haslam is a decent guy.
Exactly.
But speak out. Speak up.
Speak out. He could travel to any of the major cities, Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and march in a gay pride parade, ride on something. That would send a strong message.
Your hero, Jason Potts, is very out and proud.
Yes.
Tell us about Jason.
Jason lives in New York with his partner. He's been in New York for a while, but he's from a small town in Tennessee, Smythe, Tennessee, which is located about within an hour's drive of Memphis, because during the movie, the characters fly in and out of Memphis and drive into Memphis one night to some gay bars. He is from a supportive family. He's out to his family, and they talk about his father was supportive of him. His father's deceased, but the family is okay with him being gay. But he's home. He comes home for a quick weekend visit, and while he's there in town, he realizes that things have not gotten better for the gay and lesbian kids in the local high school, and really in the town for any of the adults in the town as well. And so Jason, he wants to do something. He wants to go back to New York and live his life, but he is out and proud, and he was bullied in the high school, just like he sees kids being bullied now, and so he wants to be helpful to the kids.
What made you become a filmmaker?
I like telling stories. I do, and I like putting image on film. I don't have a degree in filmmaking at all. I have a degree in religion from Presbyterian College in South Carolina. And I used that for a couple of years, but I just really like telling a story. And so I've made 2 other films, and then I made a web soap opera, and now I've made Tennessee Queer.
Why queer?
The movie title?
No, the word. It's such a hot button word for a lot of people.
It is. Oh my gosh, it is. I got an email from a friend of my father. So he's this gentleman, my father's deceased, but this gentleman who I know goes to church. He said he couldn't come see my movie because the word queer was in the title. He thought it was very offensive and thought it belonged in the trash heap along with the N-word.
And was this gentleman LGBT?
No.
Have you found negative reactions from the LGBT community?
Not at all. I mean, maybe they haven't told me. Maybe, I don't know. We had over 400 people come out and see it in Memphis when we premiered it back in October, so I don't think that hurt it. But, I like the word queer. I had to search for a name. Tennessee Pride was another name I considered. And there's a lot of, because the topic of Pride Parade is in this movie. I like the word queer because it's more sort of in your face, it's out there. Also Tennessee Pride, there's a sausage company that makes sausage, Tennessee Pride, and there might be some conflicts with them, so we didn't really pursue that. And I'm not bothered by the word queer. I think it's sort of like the gay community has taken back over the pink triangle that was used by the Nazis to identify gays and send them off to death camps. And I think the word queer can be sort of recaptured and used by our community as an okay word.
Almost empowering.
Empowering. But and then there's been 1 or 2 other people now that I think about it, who are in their 75 or over, or 70 or over, who have said the word queer. They thought it was an odd choice. So, because that's probably a word they used when they were kids against effeminate guys in their, gym class, was queer. So it's probably a word that they use, and maybe why they bother them, because they use that word in a negative sense. And so it's a negative context for them.
You mentioned that you've been out and proud. When did you come out and how?
I came out in '94. I was living in Memphis, working at our local, I was interning at one of our TV stations in Memphis, and I knew it was time for me to come out. I was at the point of either come out or run away forever. I don't know. It was just, I had to do it. It was just being pushed. And so I just started telling people. And I told my older sister first, the oldest. And she's in theater. She has all sorts of gay friends. I mean, to her, it was like, she maybe was the only one who had this reaction. She thought this was a great thing. I mean, she was like, yes, I've got a gay brother. I can hold my head high now. The family's going in the right direction. We have a gay person in the family. My other siblings were okay with it. A few had to be like, oh, what does this mean? Nothing negative. There was never any sort of rejection from my parents or siblings. But they had to kind of realize, well, what does this mean, a gay person? And I came out in '94, so it's almost been 20 years. And then I just started telling friends, people at work, people, everywhere. I wish if I could do it again, I would have taken an ad out in the paper and just get it over with in one fell swoop.
Was it difficult?
Yes, because you told people I wasn't sure how they react. I mean, I told every sibling by themselves, or if they were married, I told them with their wife or husband, and told my parents separately. I mean, together, but by themselves. And I told friends. I mean, it's just like, and I got pretty decent acceptance. And again, my friends were like, "Whoa, what is this? What does it mean? You're gay?" My college friends were like, "You're gay?" I had no idea. I've lost some friends over the years. I don't know if it's partly because you just kind of lose contact with people, or if it's the gay thing, or whatever.
Did you have any people cut you off because you came out?
I think a couple of people from college did. I mean, it was, like I said, at some point you do lose contact, but this kind of came, one or two sort of became immediate. But really and truly, I haven't, which I've been lucky. I do have a good friend that and this is over the course of 20 years since coming out, and we've had other problems with part of it. He's never been fully accepting, but we've remained friends and sort of worked around it. But at some point, it gets old. And there have been other issues about other subjects that have just sort of heaped on. It's like, we're just sort of, we're always going to be old college roommates, and we were longtime friends, and we have some of the similar friends, and so I'll always know him, but I don't think we'll be as close as we were in the past.
What advice would you have to young people who are struggling with the decision to come out or not?
I would say first, awesome, you're gay. That is great. Seriously, that is wonderful, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Be proud of who you are. I would suggest they choose who they tell, how they do it, because high school can be a dangerous place for a lot of reasons. Maybe there's a guidance counselor or a teacher, but I would, thankfully there are a lot of gay lesbian clubs on school campuses, or I know in Memphis we have a great gay lesbian community center, and I hope Knoxville has something like it, or has a pride parade. So I would suggest they might see if they have a community center or a gay pride club in their high school or somewhere in the district. But to do it smart, because you don't want to get beaten up, but to, first of all, to be proud and happy of who you are.
How should people react to elected officials who are seemingly behind the times and have no clue as to where the world is going when it comes to LGBT issues.
Tennessee can be perhaps a dangerous state for gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender people. I mean, we do have a lot of elected officials who don't seem to give a damn about gay people. I would like to see them step up. They need to step up and realize that there are gay and lesbian kids everywhere, and they are doing harm when they don't, when laws are introduced that are crazy, like the Don't Say Gay bill, and they're actually considered, they're voted on, or they're in a committee, and people may vote it down eventually, but it gives, unfortunately, it gives credence that something goes so far. Like I said earlier, the governor or someone should just step up and say, this is wrong, we are not going to do this in Tennessee.
What's your take on gay marriage?
I think it's great. My partner and I have been together for about 10 years. We are not married. We'll need to talk about that in the future. I would like to see, I think gay marriage has got to be a federal thing and not a state issue, because if it's a state issue, it will never get passed it won't get passed in Tennessee right now, and probably, all the Alabama and Mississippi and Kansas and Oklahoma, and so it needs to be a federal mandate. So the Supreme Court's going to make some decisions, in probably 2 or 3 months, by the end of June, and we'll see what happens from there.
What about the Boy Scouts of America?
I've been traveling some, and so I haven't kept up on all the news, and of course, the news has been full of issues from Boston to Texas, but from what I've heard, it sounds like they're going to allow gay scouts, but not gay leaders, which it's great they're going to accept gay scouts. It does send the message that gay adult males are dangerous, which I hate that, and so I would like to see them do, I would like to see them go further and allow just gay scoutmasters, but I'm glad if they're going to do the gay scouts, I think that's a positive step in the right direction, but it's just the first step.
Talk to me about President Obama.
Well, President Obama has done a lot of good things for our community, and getting the military, gays in the military was a big success, and there are other things that have occurred in a very positive way for the LGBT community under his presidency. And sadly, there's only so much that he can do as president. But on the flip side, he needs to do something. I mean, because a lot of the gays and lesbians and all the bisexuals and transgenders voted him in, gave him a lot of money, and had given the Democrats a lot of money. So it's about time some progress was made. Instead of promises, for a long time our community got promises, give us some money, elect us, we'll take care of you. I've heard that all my life from the Democrats, and it seems like finally under Obama, those checks are being cashed, and we're getting some results. Or good things have happened, and we have to give credit to, there's some Republicans, the Alaska Senator Lisa, I can't think of her last name, it's a long one, but you had Olivia Snow, you had a lot of people in the, you had Republicans help pass the get rid of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So it's been a lot of Democrats, but there have been certain Republican senators who've helped.
Wonderful. Thank you for sitting down with us here at the Lavender Table. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.